So I'm going to talk about spoilers in this video, and yes, along the way I'm going to give spoilers. I'll give you a heads up before I do that. But my problem comes when people give spoilers without announcing they're going to give spoilers, because there is a difference, obviously. I'll just give a little bit of a heads up. I'm talking about The Last of Us 2, obviously, which I've just finally finished, and I wanted to make sure I'd finished it before I made this video, so that no one could, give an unannounced spoiler in the comments that would then spoil things for me. At least, if someone does spoil something, I can then edit it out. I can take the comments out, and then it won't spoil it for anybody else. Before I get to that, I'll just say that The Last of Us 2, it is a brilliant game, and it's a masterpiece in how the game functions. For example, blending seamlessly from cutscenes to gameplay once they've finished, and how the camera viewpoint changes. Yes, the game does go on too long. I think I've seen anything up to 36.5 hours quoted on how long to beat. I seem to think that since I like to try and find every last little bit and nook and cranny going, it seems to take me twice as long as sort of the average length, and the average length was about 20 hours, 21 hours. So it's like it seems to take me about sort of 40, 45 hours to get through the game. I didn't measure it. All I know is that it took me the best part of 3 weeks on and off to try and get through it. But yeah, the game does take too long. There's yet another save, yet another workbench. Sometimes less is more. I was also annoyed about the same thing I saw Smash JT comment on, in that a lot of the areas are huge, and they have a lot of ground to cover if you want to find every last item, with either open doors, locked doors which need unlocking, or sections of wall to pass through, for example. However, for certain areas you'll inadvertently get to the point where you'll pass through to the beginning of the next scene, and when you do, you can't go back. So there's a good chance you'll miss out on items by accident, and these can include safes and workbenches. I know when I got to the end I realised that I'd missed a safe in the Capitol Hill chapter, for example. Sometime after that I did sort of keep an eye on each thing chapter by chapter to make sure I'd covered every last bit. And the annoying thing is, once you've done a chapter, if you then try and go back to an earlier chapter, it wants you to replay all the chapters in between. I only sort of went back, I think like about 2 chapters, and so I had to sort of replay a chapter in between. But my God, some of these go on forever. So I'm glad I didn't have to replay one of those. Hillcrest was a very long one, for example, as was the Seraphites. And now I'll get to a couple of the spoilers. So I'm going to mention spoilers here, and you will hear spoilers. Okay, so the first spoiler, which comes up within, let's just say it's within the first section of the game, which is all set in Jackson, and that is about Joel's death. Now, I saw it on someone's particular video. They just mentioned it. I'm not even going to name the person whose video it is, because screw them. I'm not going to give them any kind of publicity for it. But they just drops it in out the blue. Okay, they're having a moan about the game, and there were a lot of SJWs moaning about the fact that not only is there a lesbian relationship in this game, but it's an interracial relationship between Ellie and Dina. And it's just, so people just go on their high horse about that. But, they have issues. But what I hate is when someone just drops in spoilers without warning. And this guy just dropped in a spoiler without any warning. Bastard. I had heard something about it before, and I wished I hadn't. Just don't spoil things for people. Now, one good thing is that this still came up when I was least expecting it, so there was at least a surprise there, and it was more about the journey than the destination. I imagine he'd probably get bitten by a zombie or something, but then he's lived all his life, or half his life, with zombies around and about, and so the last thing he's going to want to do is sort of get caught out that way. So I won't say how it happens, but just again, spoilers. Also, before I even played the game, I tried to look up something about the game on Google. I just typed in The Last of Us 2 into the search bar, and the first auto-filled option that came up was The Last of Us 2 Joel Death. Thanks, Google. Now here's another spoiler, and this relates to the end of the game. Someone had posted a comment on one of my gameplay videos that I was uploading as I went, along the lines of, "Such a shame Ellie just gives up on avenging Joel's death." Now, I'd read the comment before I knew what had happened, and I couldn't get it out of my head after that. I was trying to justify it in my head, thinking, well, maybe she doesn't try and, avenge the death because perhaps she finds out that, she was meant to die on the operating table anyway to help save mankind by producing a vaccine from her immunity, and so she'll just succumb to that. Maybe that's what'll happen. Of course, I could have just blocked comments on all Last of Us 2 videos, but then someone could have posted a comment on another unrelated video, so there's no escaping this. People are just bar stewards. But to get into the nitty-gritty of exactly what does happen at the end of the game, the sad thing is that despite being in the position where Ellie could finish off her nemesis, in the final moment she decides to be the better person and not kill Abby off. It's rather ridiculous, especially since, in my gameplay at least, Abby did kill Ellie. So of course she comes back to life and had another go. Maybe they did this so that Ellie goes back to the farm, realises Dina has left her, and then decides to go after her again and kill her anyway, although since tracking her down was enough of a trek once, will she really want to go through all that again, given that she's already lost Dina? And fans are just going to be annoyed that Last of Us 3 is taken up with that as a storyline when it could have been finished off in number 2. And even then, why would Dina leave the farmhouse? With a child, she's unlikely to find anywhere else that's safe, so at worst, you'd expect her to still live there, and then tell Ellie to pack her bags and leave when she returns. But even then, given all they've been through, surely Dina would understand. And Ellie had only been gone, a month at most? There's dialogue that states that Ellie's final quest in Santa Barbara comes 2 months after Abby passed through there, but then she was home playing housewife with Dina for a lot of that. Gah! None of this makes sense. Either way, I expect The Last of Us Part 3 will come in June 2027 and we'll get our answer, but please do not post bloody spoilers. I don't know if these were leaks from a disgruntled Naughty Dog employee, as that was not confirmed either way. Now I'll just give a bit of an epilogue about how I hate people who give spoilers without warning, and I'll name a couple of films, but I will not give the spoilers. So on the day that War for the Planet of the Apes came out, someone posted a huge spoiler on Facebook in one of those huge statuses with a multicoloured background. One person replied, "Oh, you silly Billy, you've spoiled that bit." I replied too, but I was a lot more forthright. Another time, and thankfully I'd seen Logan on the day of release, since 2 days later I was watching one of the trailers again, and someone commented a massive spoiler about that just in the comments. What is wrong with people? So there we are. Just annoys the tits off me, it really does. Anyway, what do you think about spoilers in games? And if you are going to post any spoilers in the comments about this game, please post a comment in the... Please put spoiler before you say anything. And I do reserve the right to remove it anyway. Quite honest, let's just don't put spoilers in the frigging comments. It doesn't help anyone. No one wins here. But let me know what you think in general about spoilers in the comments below. In the meantime, please like this video and share with your friends and subscribe if you haven't already. Click on the little bell to get all notifications, and cue Genesis.